Hey man, welcome to the Super Divorce channel. If you think you're gonna like this video, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up now. And if you're digging it here, go ahead and subscribe. Just make sure you bong the gong for notifications so you know when new videos go live. Now then, please look forward to this video. Enjoy, chefs. Hey man, welcome to the Super Divorce channel. Nicholas Villars here, aka Super Divorce. Today, we're going to take a look at Fear Street Part 1, 1994, from writer and director Leigh Janiak. This movie is based on a world created by R.L. Stine for his pre-Goosebumps Fear Street book series. Fear Street 1994 is part 1 of a trilogy of Fear Street films launching on Netflix in 3 successive weekends, beginning on July 2nd, 2021. The movie opens at the Shadyside Mall, with Maya Hawke's character, Heather Watkins, closing up shop at the sadly now defunct B. Dalton Booksellers. You might recognize Maya as Robin from Stranger Things. And as this trilogy moves forward, we'll meet even more alums from the Upside Down. Not surprising, however, seeing as the writer and director of the Fear Street trilogy, Leigh Janiak, is married to Ross Duffer of the Duffer Brothers. Now, back to the movie. Heather's last customer of the night picks up a book called The Wrong Number, which is actually the title of the 5th Fear Street book from R.L. Stine. They show the original artwork and everything. Fun little Easter egg, huh? With the last customer out the door, the mall goes into after-hours mode, bathing the corridors in various shades of neon light. And if you're anything like me, you'll see the ghost of one of your favorite stores from back in the day. Software, etc. Rest in peace. Anyway, Heather speaks briefly with her friend Ryan, who also works at the mall. She needs a ride home and he agrees to play taxi after he's finished closing up his store. So they part ways, and Heather returns to B. Dalton to perform her closing duties. A few more Fear Street books are shown during this segment, but without the Fear Street moniker attached. Also, the author of these books is shown to be Robert Lawrence. If you never knew what the R.L. in R.L. Stine stood for, you do now! As Heather gets the store nice and tidy before clocking out, strange noises and falling books take her attention away from the normal nightly procedures. She searches the store, calling out for her friend Ryan, thinking he's trying to play a spooky prank. But before she can react, a costumed killer in a skeleton mask sneaks up from behind and attempts to stab Heather with a knife. A copy of The First Evil saves her life. Quick aside, The First Evil is part 1 of a Fear Street offshoot trilogy of books called Fear Street Cheerleaders. Book 2 is called The Second Evil, and Book 3 is, The Third Evil. There are 2 more Fear Street Cheerleaders books after that too, both under the Fear Street Super Chillers name, The New Evil and The Evil Lives, just in case you'd like to check out any of those. Back to the movie. A great cat and mouse chase scene follows. Heather gets to a phone inside Wheeler's Gifts, apparently a stand-in for Spencer's, where she only has enough time to give her location before she has to abandon ship and go on the run again. She's able to evade the killer for a few moments, but soon, the masked psycho catches up and puts an end to poor Heather in the food court. Imagine your last sight being the faint glow of a Sbarro sign. As for the call to the cops that Heather put in, help arrives just seconds after she's been killed. Sheriff Nick Good shows up and hits an excellent kill shot right between the eyes of the perp. And with that, we're taken to the opening credits sequence. It's a cool intro featuring various newspaper clippings from over the years that tell of Shadyside's brutal history. One headline that stood out to me was this one: Erasing a Shady Past. Good family demolishes old camp to make way for new mall. So the Shadyside Mall, where we just witnessed the first deaths of this film, was built upon the old Camp Nightwing, which will be the setting of the second part of this trilogy, Fear Street 1978. Also shown in these clippings are a couple new killers that didn't appear in any of the trailers. Harry Rooker, a deviant milkman and slayer of housewives, and another called the Humpty Dumpty Killer. Once the intro's all wrapped up, we meet Dina,
played by Kiana Madeira. She's trying to write a goodbye letter to her ex-girlfriend Sam, while Garbage's "Only Happy When It Rains" blares in the background. This movie has an awesome soundtrack, by the way. Iron Maiden, White Zombie, Bush, Cypress Hill, Radiohead, and more. I'll definitely be keeping an eye out for a physical release of the OST. And back to the movie. Downstairs, Dina's brother Josh, played by Benjamin Flores Jr., types away in an AOL chat room, exchanging theories with other users about the nature of Shadyside's evildoers. Josh seems to think that the truth is that a witch named Sarah Fear cursed the town long ago and is responsible for the heinous acts so many Shadysiders have committed over the years. His sister Dina isn't so much convinced. She thinks her brother spends too much time on his computer, swallowed up in conspiracies surrounding Shadyside's dark history. However, she does seem taken aback when Josh shows her the police report from the previous night's mall massacre. At school later that morning, Dina's friend Kate, played by Julia Raywald, repeats the line that Sarah Fear is back, but Dina still isn't amused. She even makes her position explicitly clear for Kate and their other friend Simon, played by Fred Hetchinger, during a meeting in the girls' restroom. In case you're wondering why Simon is in the ladies' room, he and Kate have a pill dealing operation going, and they keep their stash in a vent above one of the stalls. Sidebar, when Dina, Simon, and Kate leave the bathroom, there's a clear nod to Scream, as a kid runs down the hallway hooting and hollering while dragging a dummy that resembles Heather, their classmate who was just murdered the night before. Please compare to this scene from Scream the day after Drew Barrymore's character Casey Becker was murdered.
Kidding me? Look at this place. It's like Christmas.
Lee Janiak is clearly wearing her influences on her sleeve, and I think it's fantastic. Back to the movie. During a candlelight vigil for Heather Watkins, held at the football field of Shadyside's crosstown rival Sunnyvale, Dina runs into her ex, Sam, the one she was writing the note to earlier. Dina accuses Sam of abandoning her in Shadyside after Sam's parents split up. She also accuses Sam of living a lie now that she's dating a football player named Peter. Sam argues that Dina wants to be miserable and can't handle others changing their situations. The meeting doesn't end well, and neither does the vigil. A fight breaks out between Shadyside and Sunnyvale football teams. On the way back to Shadyside, a car begins to tail the Shadyside bus. The driver is Sam's boyfriend Peter, and Sam's in the passenger seat. Peter and his friend are both wearing the same style skull mask worn by Heather's murderer. Is this just a goof? Or could there be multiple killers, just like in Scream? When Peter's car gets close enough, his buddy begins hurling glass projectiles, so Dina and Kate get the idea to toss a water cooler out the back of the bus. Well, it's like we're watching Mario Kart the movie! The cooler causes Peter to swerve off the road and into the woods before running into a mound of rocks. Sam, banged up and suffering a bloody nose, crawls from the wreck and makes the unwitting mistake of dripping blood onto the grave of the witch, Sarah Fear. Horrible images flash through Sam's mind before she's snapped back to reality by Dina, who's accompanied by Simon and Kate. When Simon tries to get close enough to check on Sam, she accidentally coughs up blood all over his shirt, as well as on Dina's shoes. The group of friends don't know it yet, but this scene sets in motion all the horror that's coming their way throughout the rest of the movie. Dina runs into Peter after the crash, and he says Dina and her friends are all dead. A not-so-veiled threat. And the very next night, while Dina and Josh are home alone, someone in a skeleton costume stalks around the outside of their house. Is it Peter or one of his friends from Sunnyvale? Well, that's what Dina thinks. So she rounds up her buddies, and they all go to the hospital where Sam was taken after the crash, to confront her about her boyfriend. They don't get too long to chat, however, before Skeleton Man shows up, and it becomes a race to escape the creepy, low-lit hospital. Simon, Kate, and Josh are able to get outside and commandeer an ambulance that they pull up to the entrance. Sam and Dina rush to meet them, but end up in a scuffle with the killer. Luckily, they fight their way free, but as Dina's running away, she looks back and gets a glimpse of the killer unmasked. As you can see by the look on her face, it's a shocking reveal. Suspicions confirmed, or something else entirely? You'll have to watch for yourself. In addition to Skeleton Mask, Some other murderers from Shadyside's past returned from their unholy resting places. Ruby Lane, a girl who went crazy and killed her friends and then herself with a straight razor in 1965. Also, the masked psycho from the Camp Nightwing massacre of 1978. Thanks to all of Josh's conspiratorial obsessions, he's able to pick up on the patterns and provide some insight into what's happening, convincing his friends that they are indeed being hunted by dead villains from Shadyside's history. But why are they coming after this group of kids in particular? Remember when Sarah Fear's grave was disturbed following the crash? It has something to do with that. But how does Skull Mask fit into that scheme? Again, I want you to watch this, so I'm going to leave as many questions open as possible. What I can say is that the code is cracked and the group comes up with a plan to get the Shadyside killers all in one place. They lure them to the local high school and trap all three in a bathroom that they've rigged with explosive chemicals. The plan goes off without a hitch and the baddies go boom. Unfortunately, the black slimy sludge that they're turned into squirms back together and the killers are regenerated. It was a nice try though. So another plan is hatched. This time, the setting is the grocery store where Simon works, and I have to stop and give props to Lee Janiak for including such a great lineup of cool settings in this movie. Just to name a few, we got the Shadyside Mall, Shadyside High, the woods, Dina and Josh's house, the Erie Hospital, and finally, the nighttime grocery store. Every location is unique and brings its own vibe to the table, and they all feel very authentic for the time. Back to the movie though. You might have noticed that going into the final act, all the main characters are present. I was actually happy about this, because unlike many modern films or TV shows, I found myself caring about this group and really wanted them all to survive. It's not like there aren't other deaths to satisfy the slasher quota, but the core group is left intact for as long as possible. I think this makes it much more impactful when eventually there are casualties. I'll spoil that much. Not everyone who walks into the grocery walks out, and it's disappointing, as it should be when prominent characters meet their demise. After the grocery store climax, when all seems to have been resolved, one of the survivors receives an ominous phone call that says, "It's never over. The witch makes the rules, and she's not done." And that's all I can say without ruining anything. I know we've covered quite a bit, but I've left out a lot as well, including all the big twists and revelations. Hopefully, as soon as this review ends, you'll get your Netflix going and watch Fear Street 1994 for yourself. And after you do, please come back and let me know what you thought. Personally, I loved it. I remember absolutely wearing out the original Scream VHS tape, and I think I would have done the same with this movie had it been released back then. I thought it was really cool that there was a mix of who's behind the mask mystery with in-your-face supernatural horror. And the monstrous killers teaming up against a group of kids reminded me of The Monster Squad, one of my favorite movies ever. I also think the actors and actresses made their characters feel real and relatable. While the cast was what may be hailed as diverse today, that didn't seem to be the central focus. I mean, you have the relationship between Dina and Sam, but again, it was believable. It didn't feel forced. That's just who these characters happen to be. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if you'd like a follow-up on the next one in this series, Fear Street 1978. And if you haven't done so, please sub to the channel, bong the gong for notifications, stab the like button, and share this one all across the internet. Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, wherever you go. And don't forget to comment with your thoughts on Fear Street 1994, my review, or anything else you might have. Until next time, take real good care, keep kicking ass, love you lots. Lord willing, I'll be back very soon with another video for you to watch. Bye-bye.
We're gonna go viral with this one.